Hi, welcome. Mitchell Levy here, global credibility expert, and we are talking about leaders living their values. It's the funnest thing I get to do in the day. And I'm here with Andrea Jenson. Andrea, hi, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
You're welcome. Um, the thing that's always interesting, my favorite question is to sort of throw the ball over the fence and say, Andrea, who are you?
It's a loaded question, right? Well, thank you for having me on the show. My name is Andrea Jenson. I am the founder and CEO of a company called the Cashflow CFO, where we help entrepreneurs to create predictable profits and make sure their business is set up as an asset to create personal wealth. Along with that, I'm an investor, a mentor, and a mom, a wife, a sister, all the things. So that's a little bit about who I am.
Hmm. Okay. What's your favorite job of all those jobs?
Gosh, strategy. Anything to do with making people more money by fine tuning their business model is really where I like to play and tinker.
Hmm.
So that's my favorite use my brain job, but the fun job is definitely being a mom.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the right job to be your favorite. Got it.
Yes.
Huh. How does one who has and your kids are still under 18,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yep.
so how does one manage kids and their job at the same time and keep their sanity and their what's the right word? Their values.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you're wearing a lot of different hats, sometimes all at the same time, but I think that it's the ebb and flow of knowing where you need to be at any given moment and stepping fully into that, wearing that particular hat. So that's one thing. The other thing is having a really good support system around you and allowing them to support you. So a lot of people have that, but then they also still try and control everything. And I think you have to let the people that you bring in to help you with the work, the family, the kids, the all the things, you know, trust that you've brought the right people in to help you so that you can still show up fully, for all the different things you need to do.
It's interesting. By the way, thanks for the aha moment. I will never ask anyone again, what's your favorite job? I'm going to say, what's the favorite hat you wear? And of course, the double entendre is Mitchell, but I don't wear your hat, right? So,
Right.
um, curious about how many times have you seen with the entrepreneurs you work with that they
Mhm.
bring on support staff and then they don't trust them? And
Mhm.
trust is not that they don't say, I don't trust them. Trust is in terms of how they act because they still want to hold on to everything.
Right, right. We have the opportunity to support lots and lots of 7, 8, 9-figure business owners. And there's a lot of things that from being in a close proximity, you pick up on some common threads. And it's a skill to definitely to be able to release and trust that the people you have hired, the people that you've mentored, that you're the leader for, are going to do not always the exact same thing you would do, but you trust that their judgment or their expertise is actually probably better than what you would do in that specific role that you've hired them for.
So I hear you and I appreciate the answer, but you didn't actually answer my question from the perspective of how many times is this,
How
like
many times?
5%, 50%,
Yeah.
75%? Is it 1%? How many times to the CEOs that you end up working with, how many times do they actually fall into that category of not trusting their support staff?
So we have long-term partnerships with our clients. So I would say in the beginning, we would see that happen 50% of the time. But then the business owners that we work with, I think that they're quick to fall, but quick to pick themselves back up and learn those lessons. And so by the time that they feel that release of having a strong team around them, they're able to let go. And I would say it's maybe only like 20% of the time where they feel like they have to dip back in and do a little micromanaging versus working on the business, not in the business, if that makes sense.
Of course. That's interesting. Okay. So 50% of the time, because we're not taught, by the way, to let go and hire the right people, right? So we're not taught that way in school and the fractional, whatever it is, the fractional marketing, fractional finance, fractional support, all that is, and even as a mom, as a dad, the sitter who we have coming in the house, the doctor we have looking at our kids. I mean, it's really interesting. We're taught to trust the doctor, but we're not taught to trust and then fill in the blank. Why do you think that is, by the way? How come we're not taught that?
I don't think entrepreneurship is taught. You don't learn it in school, that's for sure. You're learning maybe a specific skill or a trade, but you're not taught to be a leader and build a team around you. And so I think that's why it's a lesson that entrepreneurs have to go through in order to learn it themselves.
So the 50% that come in when you get new clients, do they inevitably have to fall before they say yes? Like they get it? Or some get it once you tell them?
I think that most entrepreneurs are type A personalities. They're that high driven type that they have to learn it themselves the first time. It's one thing for someone to tell you, right? I think we're all a little bit guilty of this. It's one thing for someone to tell you, but you have to kind of go, well, let me see. And most successful entrepreneurs, they test everything anyway, right? So I think that just falls underneath that category of let me test and see, is this really true for me, or will it work for me, kind of thing.
So do you actually, that's very fascinating. Do you build that into your business model then?
No, I think it's just a natural evolution. I think a lot of the clients, when they come to us, they've never had the level of support that we offer, the level of partnership that we provide. And it takes them a minute to go, oh, I can really, take my hands off the wheel of this part of my business a lot more than I've ever been used to. So I think it just is, they have to, it's like I tell my team all the time, think of like all the good things you do for the clients as you're putting a marble in a jar. And then when you make a few mistakes, we're human, it's inevitable. A few marbles come out, but you better have more marbles in the jar. And it's the same thing, with the business owners learning to let go, is that, it's a couple steps here, a couple steps back, a couple steps forward until you finally go, okay, I get it now. And I'm okay letting go.
So tell me about, for your life, when did you hire a resource, and give me both examples, like sometime where you didn't let go and another time where you did, or maybe I was just trying to figure out, think about this from when did that happen for you?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of the best examples was my youngest is 4. So when I was pregnant with her, I was running this really big company with a lot of team members, a lot of moving pieces, and I was sick as a dog. Oh, I was so sick. And I was forced to let it go and trust that, the people I had in place and all of the systems, processes, everything I had built, that my team had built, was going to be good. And we doubled that year in revenue. We did tremendous. And it was just a kind of like oh, okay, this can work. Sometimes we have to be forced to do that. But that's a perfect example of, I had no other choice. And thankfully, everything worked out just like it was planned to.
That's really cool, by the way. Great story. Is there a time where you were forced, you had no opportunity? Was there a time where you, like your clients, that you've accidentally fell into the 50% that you needed to make that mistake yourself?
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of that has to do, in business specifically, I'm of the frame of mind that I hire really smart people and I get out of their way and let them do their work. When you find that you've hired somebody, a lot of that stuff falls back into marketing for us because that's not a core competency. So it's not something that I could just pick up and do. And so I kind of find myself poking around in there more than I would any other partnership in our business. And I think some of that is because I'm just like, well, how does it work? Well, how do you know? And then the other part of it is it's really hard to find good marketing partners for the level of business that, not the level of business we do, but the type of, we're a relationship business. So it's not like I can run ads all day and do those and bring in clients. It's more of a personal relationship that, you know, it takes a while to trust somebody to do your finances, right? It's not just like, oh, let me click on an ad and hire somebody. So I think that's one area that I fall into that 50%. I should, you know, let go more, but you know, I'm learning, right?
I had to tell you that it's really fascinating to listen to you because if I had to pick one for me, I'd probably do the same. Um, and technically, theoretically, I've done most jobs in the marketing space. So I keep telling myself, Mitchell, it doesn't matter if you can create a website or do SEO like X many times faster than the people you hire. You got to hire, you know, and I think it's a part of me. So I'm kind of curious your thought process because I've been thinking about this a lot now recently. When I'm working with other CEOs, what happens is, and particularly what changes so radically. So finance typically doesn't change a lot. Whether or not, you know, I would assume your firm is not the bookkeeper for hire. It is the CFO, not just the CFO accountant, but the CFO strategist, right? And reading your stuff. So by the way, if you don't know what that means, you got to talk to Andrea, right? Because that's you want a firm. I knew that, so that we don't have to talk about that because you're already there. And how you speak, you're there. So on the marketing side, I think what gets pushed most of the time is the tactical stuff, you know, and even in my firm, we've spent so much time on all the tactical stuff, which is the tactical is like hey, let's send out 10,000 emails. Oh, I got a mailing list that's now, oh, it's at 12,000. Like those are vanity numbers versus how many people do I have that ongoing individual relationship with, and how can I foster that? That sounds like what you're talking about.
Absolutely. Because those are, I mean, yes, they're important metrics because you need somewhere to start, you know, like here's my total sample size. But what really matters is, you know, what's my conversion rates? What am I tracking that actually tells me how many more people are raising their hands to have a conversation about what it is or how you can help them, right? So that's, you know, Facebook followers means nothing. You know, some of the other vanity metrics, right? It's like, no, have I gotten anyone to say, hey, I hear what you're doing and I would love some help with that? That's all that really matters at the end of the day. So, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So is that something that you provide as a service also to your clients?
Well, we're definitely tracking what's coming down the sales pipeline. So when we work with one of our clients' marketing firms, we're asking them, we need data. We need to know, you know, what's our customer acquisition cost? What's our customer lifetime value? What's our sales conversion rate? How many leads do we need this budget to be able to afford us? Because you need to, when you're saying, you know, our clients come to us and I want to double my revenue. We're like, awesome, let's do it. So then we start digging in to understand what needs to happen on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, you know, activities. And the sales pipeline is where a lot of financial people, I don't, you know, you can fill in the blank, your CPA, your bookkeeper, your whoever, they're not looking at the holistic view of the business because if you tell me you want to double your business, I look at your sales mix, like what products, what services are you selling? What percent of those make up your total revenue? What percent do you like to deliver? Which ones are you profitable on? And then we hone in, okay, let's sell more of the, the specific service, for example. And we go, great, what is your historical sales conversion rate? From there, we're able to back into, okay, if you want to double, you need X amount of leads. And now we go look at your marketing budget. Can you afford that? What are your, when you break down all the different things you have to budget for in your business, marketing is, a really important one to understand. Number one, how is your marketing team performing for you? If you have nothing to gauge their performance on, which would be your these types of metrics that we're talking about, you don't know if you're getting that ROI that, they're promising you. And so understanding, I've got $10,000 to spend, I need 3,000 leads. Can you do it, marketing team? Yes or no? And then now everybody understands what success looks like, and you're managing your budget wisely, and you're able to double your sales.
That's fascinating. So, by the way, for those who are listening and paying attention, this is what a good CFO, whether it's a CFO for hire, this is what your marketing team should be doing automatically. And if they don't, you need a CFO to look at that, not just bean counters. So thank you. It seems like you have passion about this. I mean, you not only articulated a story, but you did it with fervor.
Yeah. Well, I see, your business, typically business owners, their biggest asset, their biggest wealth creation asset is their business. But I see a lot of business owners that don't treat it like that. And so there's a lot of potential that's left on the table, number one. But number two, when a business is successful and it's profitable, you're creating new jobs, you're creating a stronger community, there's just so much of and you're serving whatever you're fixing, right? We all went into being a business owner because we were fixing a problem. You're helping more people. So when you have a solid foundation, financial foundation in your business, you're just able to do so much more. And so that's really where our passion is helping to fix the business model so that you can go out and serve more people. You can be more financially successful. You can hire more people. You can have, all of those different ripple effects of having a profitable business that, it allows you to do.
A question popped into my head. Thank you so much for sharing. When was the so how many ish clients do you have? Like whatever number you're comfortable
Yeah,
with.
we're about 100 right now, and we're on a mission for this year to bring on 100 more.
Huge. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So impressive.
Thank you.
When was the last time you learned from a client?
Oh gosh, every single day.
That's the only answer, by the way. Thank you for giving the right answer. I was kind of tossing it up there.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry,
I absolutely love what we do, because we get to see so many different types of businesses. We work with what we do. We can do it for any industry, any business model. That's the fun for us, is to come in and get that new challenge of like, oh, we haven't worked with a business like this before. Let's sit down and tinker. Because that's really what we're doing, is we're tinkering with all the different metrics and all the different data that the business has. So I learn so much every single day. Like, we always joke around that this is the best business school you could ever have, is just being exposed to the different ways they take risks, the different ways that they think about creating new, revenue streams, or just all the it's fascinating. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. By the way, I was like tossing up a softball, and like there was really only one answer for a credible person, and you hit it out of the park. Because here's what I heard you say. And actually, let me step back for a second, and I want the audience to hear the elements of credibility that I'm hearing. It's the intent and commitment to do the right thing, not for herself, for her family, and for her clients. It's being coachable, having the integrity, external and internal. I'm hearing a lot of really cool things in terms of what you do. It's Now, what happens? Because 100 clients that means 50% come in needing to drop the ball first. That's interesting. You may actually, there may be a course you could share with them, like a 10-minute course on, by the way, if you're going to drop the ball, do it quicker. It's interesting to me, of the 100, do you occasionally accept clients that just they don't turn out to be who you think they are?
Sure. Yeah, we've learned a few lessons, hard lessons along the way. Various reasons, right? There's various, I guess, different ways that they want to accomplish a goal might not line up with something that we can support them with. It might just be just a personality, right? We're not able to communicate on the same level. Therefore, it's such an intimate partnership. It just doesn't work. Um,
Mm.
but the majority of the businesses that we support are in some shape or form heart-centered entrepreneurs. They understand and share our same values. Those are the ones that we're really successful with, and we're able to really, help grow their business and create a lot of wealth along the way.
I would like to, we'll take this one offline. I'm particularly interested in, can we architect a set of rules of clients we like in the heart center space and clients we don't like? And I'll take that offline with you because it's now time. So, but I'd be very interested in that. That would be a very fascinating area to focus on. And you've done enough of this where it makes sense, because sometimes, if you have a much smaller client base, client comes in paying revenue, I'll take that person, I need the money. And yeah, that doesn't work very well.
Mhm.
Yeah. So listen, for those who are listening to this, they find this fascinating, they're interested in learning more, how best can they reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to chat. You can reach out to us. Our website is thecashflowcfo.com. You can email me directly, Andrea at thecashflowcfo.com. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all the usual hangout places, and it's the Cash Flow CFO. You can find us there. And we'd love to, we are always sharing resources too. So I love creating different spreadsheets that help accomplish different things in business. So we're always giving out free, worksheets and resources and things like that. So come and say hello.
I will definitely do that. So based on this conversation, um, and where it went,
Mhm.
what is there a particular question that you think I should have asked you, or is there a question that you would like me to ask you that I haven't yet?
That's a great question. So I would say for your audience, a good question and just something to kind of maybe expose them to something they didn't know was out there as a resource for them is, what is the difference between a CFO and a CPA?
Hmm.
Or a
You
tax
know,
preparer or a bookkeeper? We could lump all of
yeah.
them
You
in
know
this.
what? I made the assumption because I could tell right away that you're not. I knew it before you came on. And then I just said in the interview, let's assume we know the difference and what, but
Mhm.
I think that's a great question. So thank you for preparing me.
Sure.
Andrea, could you share the differences between what you would consider a good CFO, an
Mhm.
active participant in the business CFO, and someone who does your books really well, whether it's a tax person, a CPA, or kind of like the guy who works on my business. Oh, sorry, I didn't say that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make it really, really simple. So we like to give, a little analogy. So say you're driving, you're the business owner, you're driving down the road in your car, and sitting in your back seat, looking out the rear view window, is your bookkeeper, your tax preparer, and they're reporting on the historical, where you went, what you did. Your CFO is sitting in the front seat next to you, the business owner looking out the front windshield, telling you, here's what's coming up, here's how to plan, and here's how to be profitable. So you need everybody in the car because they all serve a very important role in a business, but they all have very different perspectives. So that's just a quick way to kind of understand the difference between the services they provide.
That is so cool. I'm going to say there was a reason we were talking at this time. The fascinating part, I had a conversation with somebody who I'd been starting to groom a relationship with, a strategic partner.
Mhm.
And he said something that was so powerful. And it's really the type of CFO and company that I want to create in terms of the approach I have. And it's very similar to what you just said. The performance of headquarters, so the CEO and their staff, is to improve performance versus to record history.
Yep. Love that.
Yeah, and that's just in line with what we're talking about, what we're thinking about. And I think that's probably for you entrepreneurs in the audience that are thinking about it, whether, one person, 100-person companies. The thing to be thinking about is, do you have partners at your side who see the bigger picture and help you perform better, whether it's you, the CEO, or if it's other areas of the company, versus just recording history and then after the fact, waving the stick, because that's not the way to run a business. So cool. Andrea, thank you so much. That was really powerful and it was meant to be. So I appreciate you sharing that aha moment.
You're very welcome.
All right. So you're awesome. Thanks again for joining us today. If you're still here, whether you are a podcast or VCast, and we're in a ton of different locations, here's my suggestion. It's time to spread some cred dust. So click on the like button, share with your friends. If there's a particular aha moment that got you excited, write it down, share it. And then certainly feel free to reach out to Andrea, reach out to me if you have incremental questions. And I absolutely look forward to seeing you at the next episode of Leaders Living Their Values. Thanks so much. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.